I do this small video just to show up the things that I think you should understand if you start touching Wikidata and the gadgets I use. So if we start with just going to this Johan Sunne. So now I have activated this ShEx tool, which means that it checks the fields we have written down in the entity schema. So now we can see he doesn't have a picture, he doesn't have a birthplace, he doesn't have a common category, and that means that when you have a picture location, the picture location is what is added into the common place. And we don't have the Swedish portrait archive. We can see that the optional things, we don't have many of them, deaf place and so on. The problem we see with people who are younger is we could have a deaf place in Wikidata, but we don't have it in the books. And here we can see they have a knowledge graph identifier, and that means that we have a connection between Wikidata and the knowledge graph of Google, which is rather cool. So if I go down here, we can see that here is the knowledge graph identifier. That's the ID of Google. So when I do a click on it, we will get a link, a search for Johan Sunne. So they have him already in their knowledge graph. So that's extreme cool. We can see that we have beskriven källa. Here we could have done this in a better way. I will do it later on. So what you do in E395 is that you say that this item should be human, it should be a male or a female, and so on and so on. And then we have they should have a party. So this is the syntax then. We should have SPA, and then said optional have a link to Riksarkivet and so on. So the idea is that even that Wikidata is very, very open, we should be able to say that this information here has this characteristic or qualification of what you say. And the cool thing is if people start using schemas like this, we can say that if you are going to fetch those Swedish PM from me, validate them against this schema. So that's the cool thing of having a machine readable thing. So that's interesting. We can go down and see if we have more things. What I normally do, I don't know how. Here's another thing I have, which is I click on this one, then I get the article in Swedish when I click on Sweden, and then I can start drag and drop. So we can see that he is born 9 December 80, and then I can drag this in. So now he creates Ramsåsa. Sorry, I run it in Swedish. And then we have the birthplace. Like that. We also have the deaf location, which is Mjölby. Now, we don't add a source, but it's better than nothing. That's what I say. And what they say, he was in the Swedish Riksdag. And we have it also here. Maybe if I haven't done it here, we should have a description by source. I changed this to English. So I guess he is in this Enkammar book. And I got a file from Emil, and that file I have used a little bit and uploaded, but this person haven't been uploaded yet. So Oh, that was bad run it in Swedish, as those references are not vem är vem, who is who, are not translated. And we can see here he is in the liberals, which is, I need to go back to Swedish, I can't understand what part it is. And that, then I can see this person, he has added a lot of liberals here. So here I think we should have the Folkpartiet instead. I don't know how long he was in the government. He stopped 60, yeah. So then it's a little bit odd. We can see what they have in the article. Folkpartiet, so they use Folkpartiet. How it works between Wikidata and... No, they say... I have to go to look in the article how they have done this. Folkpartiet. And if I click on Folkpartiet, we can see that he goes to Folkpartiet, and Folkpartiet has a redirect. So what I have done is that I have added a Wikidata object. You see it's Salgo. And this is a little bit controversial. The cool thing with doing that is that you can you get the correct name in Wikidata. So this item here now we get it displayed as Folkpartiet, which I think is more appropriate. The problem is if you are doing a search, the search, and you say that I would like to have all the liberals, then you need also take, and when you say all the liberals, also want to have the Folkpartiet people, then you have to do the spark in a little bit other way. So here I feel that Wikidata is wrong designed. Wikidata should be designed so getting the name of an entity that has changed name should be deeper down in Wikidata. Right now what happened is that now we get the correct name when having this approach, and we can see that they föregås av, before, Frisinnade Folkpartiet, följs av Liberalerna. And is this the same as the liberal or not? What I did was that I added P460 is same as, which is rather interesting then. So then you can do the sparkle. Give me all Liberalerna and also people who has been in a party where P460 is the same as. When we go back to this item here, if I click on this one, then I can see the article. And here we can see they have no template. When I click on it, I have activated so a template is shown. And this is done in the setup. And the setup is done here. No, the setup is preferences. And then it is gadgets. And then you can activate something called fakta. Faktamall here. Lägg till faktamall if it's not already there. So what they do now is that they see that this archive doesn't have this item here. So they add it. the correct way is that you add it in the article, then everyone will have it. I don't do it now, as we don't have so much sources on this person. So if I do it in the article, which I have done for all the people, for people in this other book, then the template, will always be shown, and it will also extract the references, which we didn't have for this person. We can see also here that now Folkpartiet is shown here. So instead of Liberalerna as we had before I changed, we will see Folkpartiet, which I think is more correct. So it's another place where we get a better visual appearance if we have it correct. Maybe I will add, but I do it after this video, things from this other book. And I also will check in open refine by if I can automatically update this person. Sunne I Mjölby. And here is another thing which is missing, is that normally we do like, I change it like this, and I have a template for that also. So when I do that, we get a link to explain this person. But now I will update this person. So what happened now is that I got lost here. It's a bad update because we don't have the sources and so on. And then I also add another thing. Noter. And that is a placeholder for sources we will come here. I can see if I can find something about him. This is a good one. Johan Adolf Sunne. So this is the person, and we will be what I do now is that I create a source. This source is created. I start adding them here. That's a new pattern which I use. So we have for portrait, we have an object. So now I create that he is described in this book. Here I have activated another gadget which gives me the today's date. Anges I is for the place it is. Then if we don't have the link, I also start adding the page 191. And we have the date, and then I also add him as named as. Sorry. And he is named as Johan Adolf Sunne. If I take him as this, is Ramsosa, yes. So now I add that one, and then I have another gadget which is copy. If I refresh the page, we can see that this source confirm that he is born 18 December 1890. It can confirm Ramsosa. We dragged this from the Swedish, and then we get this reference. What I do now is that I have this copy gadget activated. So now we say that this source down here confirms Ramsosa. And then we have another problem, which I think also should be discussed if you are moving in this direction, is that normally all sources don't say if it's a district, it's a church parish, or a socken, a parish. We can also see that he was a folkskollärare in this source, so then I add that. And I copy also this source here, which was done. And then we have sysselsättning politiker. Then I add folkskollärare. So that's an object. I do refresh on this page. And I copy this source down here. And this source said that he's working with politicians. He was also that he worked with Folkpartiet. So I say that this source also confirmed at least a little bit that he worked with, was a politician. Doesn't confirm that he was in the PM between 49 and 60, but it says Folkpartiet. So now we have added it to 5 places. If I go down and click here, we will see nothing. If I go to the article, which I now are going to update, and I say show preview, we will see that he has taken this source 4 times, and you can see it comes from here. As he's born rather early, I can take this, his name, and say 1890. I do it like that. And then I have written my own gadget to SPA. So when I have my gadget activated and I say category in commons, I will get this bottom here. And then I will get a search. And if I'm lucky, which I'm not, then he will find the person. And this was not good. So what I do then is that I open Swedish Portrait Archive and search for, see if they have something. Normally 99% of the times they have. Sunne, odd name. So here we have him. And this picture is good enough, I think. And maybe the other one was even better. So then I take this unique ID, go back to my application, and I say I would maybe, no, is that correct? No. No, I'm getting confused. I think this is the same person. And here we can see we have him also in SPA. Cool. So I take Sunne here. I go back to this one. Now I have the ID. I do a search again. It's easier if I get... No, it's not. I take this person here, I say upload, and I don't want to have this picture. So what I have written here is go to a specific page, and in this page give the unique ID of the picture that should be brought. So now I have done that. We are on a category, so he will put this in a category, and this is the old way Wikidata used. Still used, but this is the old way that you put all the picture with some thing in common in the same category. So now I've changed those two. This is a little bit to fix, and I say upload. So now I will go down to SPA, take the picture, upload it, and set the things. So what we can see now is that he says this picture should be in this category. And this category is... Sorry, my clock starts. Is here. And now you can see that I added a Wikidata info box. So he will try now, when I update here, that so now I updated a connection between Wikidata and Wikicommons, and then we will get all the data from Wikidata. And then I say, now we have a picture that's good enough. I can also, if I don't think this picture is good enough, I can go and crop it. So we have a tool, which I also think I need to activate, and say, make this picture smaller or bigger. I don't do it this time. And then we get another copy of the picture. But now I go back to Wikidata. In Wikidata we can see from my E395 that we miss a picture, P18. So now I add the picture, saying that this picture is him. I click on this SV Wiki, nothing is shown. I go out and check in my updated page. I haven't saved it yet, but I can do a preview of it, and then we will see that this picture now from Wikidata but also from Wikicommons will be shown. If I go back to Wikicommons, we are in this category here, 1890. I will add some more pictures. I normally add 3, 4, 5 if I find them, but I don't do it in this video. Then we have another common gadget, which called SDC. That's soft structured data on commons. So when I click on that, we can see he has no metadata. So then I can do set target, and I can write Johan Adolf Sunne, or I can write Johan Sunne, and then we get person 619822. So that means that you get semantic interoperability. As on Wikicommons, which have their own wikibase, I say the picture we have here depicts a person that is called Q619 blah 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 on Wikidata. So that is how different domains should work in Parliament, for example. The German people say they have a party like X. The party is same as the one in Wikidata, or it's nearly same as the one Liberalerna in Swedish, or they are related. I added in another comment on GitHub that someone yesterday did a rather good thing with Wilde, I think. That they said Wilde was a group of... if you have frisinnad Wilde, they said that this person is part of something called Wilde. And I like that. But what happened was that yesterday we had Widding, who was a Wilde. But we have a person who is excellent. He's called Larske. He didn't know about this pattern, and he did it his own way. So that means, as it's an open platform, he is one of the person who have what you could say, some I don't know, Swedish pondus. So maybe you don't argue with him, and he changed it in another way. So back to this. We have this picture. We have no metadata on it. I say set target, and I selected it to have the Q number. I said set to P, and now a macro is run, and we get the motto, the depict is Johan Sunne, which could also be done from this interface. And you see here the interface is say that the person depicts this one. And if I go out and look on the concept URI, we can see that M is the unique number of this person. And if I do JSON, we will see how the Wikibase looks here. So that means that I will see that he depict is property P180. So what has happened now is that we got one source from this book. I added a picture. I go to the Johan stuff and we see on this, do another check. And now we can see that the picture is okay. The common category is not set. Normally we have bots doing that. But I can set it now. So common is... I don't explain that because that's... I think it's odd. P373. And he was missing a link to SPA, but what we lesson learned was that he is in SPA. So I can add that source also. So now we can see that this is the Johan Sunne. So then I add SPA here. And what I have done since some 2-3 days ago, I start add a reference to Tvåkammarriksdagen, the book. So now it's everyone here is green. Optional is dead. But we have not where he died, I think. And are we lucky? It says Mjölby here. So then we have a source on it. So then we say dödsort. Mjölby, is that double? So the cool thing here is that some Wikipedians have added all the parishes. One person wrote about 2,000 articles about parishes, or even more, 7,000 was it. Parishes, socknar, which is another type of parishes, and the församlingar, church parishes. And so we have them down here. When I started working with Wikidata in 2016, I never did anything on Wikipedia. Then one of the first thing I did was that I moved it down to Wikidata. So that was so now we have all the parishes. We have another project which is called Tora from Riksarkivet. They have done it, but I don't feel they have. It's not so successful. I never hear about anyone using it. So now we have this here. We should also have his I riksdagen kallad. What I do is that I use another gadget and then I go out and try to find a well-written person. And then we have Solveig. So what I do is that I copy that one. And change it. And then when I change it, we have this magic. No, maybe I don't have. Maybe I have. This from Emil. So there we have Sunne i Mjölby, page 208. So I go back to the page. We have this name, but we have the wrong person as I did the copy from another one. I do add like that. I take away the SPA and then I can't save, which is like this. And then we should have Sunne Mjölby up here. And then we need to have him down here. And now it's the 3rd of May, I think. So he is named as like nearly like that. I should change that. And then we say that's in the book, page 2, and he is named like that. And then we should have the SPA so we get the link. Like that. So now we have this in Riksdagen named as Sunne in Mjölby. We have Sunne in Mjölby up here. I can do copy here that he has the surname Sunne. Here is some bot, I think. No, it's a person who has added this. So I say that's confirmed. He is named Johan Adolf. So Johan is the first name. So here we add the first name with entities. And then Johan Adolf is number 2. And this one is number 1. And it's also tilltalsnamn. Here it's in capitals. I do refresh on the page. Adolf, Johan, add the reference. And here I think we should have better design. Maybe it's me who has done it wrong. But I haven't. We should have one object we change and reference. But that's another story. Says he's born 9 December 1890 in Ramsåsa. And we have Ramsåsa here. We say the source is Tvåkammarriksdagen. Deaf. They also have, so then we can add a reference for that one. I have added this twice, don't know why. Maybe I didn't refresh when I... So I take away this. He is a politician, and that's confirmed by this source. And he is folkskollärare, which is confirmed by this source. And here we have the problem which I try to point out, that this Umeå project have Hisco, and I don't think we have updated Hisco so good, but folkskollärare, it would be better if they have a knowledge graph up there. And here you can see now it's trying to confirm with our Riksdagen, which is bad, so we get a lot of red. But here you can see the mix and match integration. So folkskollärare is here, and Statens historiska museum have added, Eva Levdin has added it twice. I think that's bad design from them. We can see why they have twice. Folkskollärare, folkskollärarinna. And they have started doing same as Wikidata, but I think they do it sometimes not in the best way. Why don't they connect those and saying this is the female form? Maybe I should add something here saying this is the male form and so on. What we have here is that we have the feminine form P25. So maybe I should do it like this. I never done this before. So I add folkskolärarinna, and then I say it's svenska. So this is a field where you can have different languages. We have about support for 200 or 300. Working field, skola, underklass till skollärare, teacher. So that sounds cool. But the cool thing here is that this is mix and match, and that's an outside catalog with about 7,000 sources. So one is Uppslagsverket Finland. So then I can do plus here and saying that what that dictionary has, we add. So they have folkskollärare here. So that's what I added now by Selje, and if we check in the version history. So that's a way to have external catalogs, and I think that maybe the project Välfärd Analyserat should have that. Here I can add it to the Swedish, and this I don't know, musical group, svensk. This was already added, so that's maybe some other Finnish dictionary. So now we can see that we also got an external identifier for Nationalencyklopedin. And we can see that we have other articles linking here. So this is the way we have occupations. And the best would be if this project up in Umeå had an identifier. I don't think they could have a HISCO code because HISCO is more international, but they should have their own. So we could say that our folkskollärare is the same, our Q number, Q104, is the same as what they have. And now I think they have a list. I did a project on Git, a project, I spent some hours on GitHub. And did a scanning how things are uploaded. And wrote about it. And they have those, what they call this, standard errors that Stockholm, what Stockholm do they mean? This one, this one, this one, this one, or this one. They don't, when they just use text strings, it's impossible to understand. And here I speak about what I have done on entity schemas. That we have this for Riksspelman, we have this for Swedish parish, we have this for Föreningsliv Pistlar, we have for art in Umeå, we have how a stage should be done and so on. We should have a common way to communicate between Swedish riksdagen and eller riksdagen, what they mean with information set, and what the people in Riksarkivet, National Archive means and so on. But I feel that this Välfärd analysis is the first project where you have the skills enough to start speaking about information sets or data as data. But I did a test, so I scanned 30,000 people from Alvin and see what top properties do we have in Wikidata, and I also did a check here in Alvin, for example. What is the occupation they have for their people, and it's a professor and physicians and so on, but they don't have any connection that our professor is the same as that one, or our folkskollärare is the same as that one. So that means you can't search between. Arken, we had more than 3,000 people, so I did a check how they define it, and I think it's bad RDF. Here they have done, which we normally don't see, that we have a language tag, but this is on a higher level, so they don't do good data. So if you have if you go down to TV-producent, they should also have for more languages, and they should have same as something else. So everyone is doing silos, digital silos is my feeling. We checked, here's Arkham when I checked it, and they have authors. And then I checked with Digital Museum, they had tried to do things, but they did their own Wikidata 15 years ago, but it's 10 fields. I mean, in Wikidata we have 10,000. And here we have how Libris is doing it. They redesign it to have people who are skilled in RDF and so on, but it's a non-functional organization, is my feeling. So they have done RDF, Barget Strindberg, and then he has a label författare. So they don't have a saying what they should do is his occupation is same as Wikidata Q number or ARB for occupation. So it's what they say themselves of the 10 years is that they have spretigt data, and I think it's data which you can't use. We have same as Libris, but it's sad. And what we see is an organization that can't learn new technology, and no one tell them that this is too bad the quality they have. We have connected to Levande musiksarv, so I also checked them. Litteraturbanken. The one who has a little bit good is Riksarkivet SPL, and they have done it in a good way, so they don't have HISCO codes, but they have unique numbers, but they don't explain it, but they have at least grouped them. We have another new project, Stadens Ansikte. I try to speak to them. Difficult to speak to them, and they are not semantic people. I think it's old school people. We have the Swedish female lexicon. I spoke to them. I was on their steering committee meeting. They don't understand the linked data. That's the sad thing. But they have worked with database from day zero, and they have an occupation, which is cool. They have a text string, which is bad, but they start adding more metadata, saying from a date to a date. They don't say the place as a linked data, but they say it with a coordinate. So Flen should be a city, and they should have city in their data and saying the city is same as SCB, Wikidata or something else, and so on. And we can see they have a lot of authors. And here I did some notepads. And then I also started to send out an email to people I know, but they don't answer. They are not used to work together. Hur kommer vi vidare? How do we continue this? Annika Westerberg is the person who is the project manager for this, or somehow. In Umeå, I think I called her, but she didn't have time, and people get stressed when they should do more advanced things. Lena Milton, excellent person, historian working with Riksarkivet SPL. Spoke to her in real life once, twice. Excellent answer I get from her. But they don't understand linked data. Maria Sjöberg is the person who is the boss for SKBL. She was inviting me to the steering committee, but doesn't understand linked data. Olof Karsvall is the person who did the Tora project from Riksarkivet. He understands things like this, but I don't think he care about. They don't care if it's digital silos, or they know those organizations will never deliver. And then we have Henrik Summan, and he has been working with RAA forever. I met him, he worked for Digisam, but Digisam was also old school organization, 10 people sitting 10 years, and I don't see what they'll deliver. I met him and explained how bad, for example, Europeana is. But people are scared telling other people that you need to deliver better. So the whole infrastructure is odd. And that's sad. So now we are back to our Johan here. And what I should do now is that we have this Sunne person, and we have it in a nice way. I should change here. Good. And now I can start see what Tvåkammarriksdagen is confirming. So I have how it should look now. We have the source. I do a refresh on the page. Tvåkammarriksdagen, and it's confirming Sunne, that I already have added, I think. And we had the death date, we have politician, we have the occupation. That he was in this första kammaren. We can see what we have here. 49 to 60, it confirms that with this one. Arbetsort Stockholm, I don't confirm. Folkpartiet, FP is confirmed. And then we have that he was in this book. So then I had to do a refresh again. And also that this F5 is Tvåkammarriksdagen. So then I do it like this. And now we have it also here. So then we can see that he was described by this source. And if I go up now to my article, which I haven't saved, and I do a refresh, we were clicking show preview again, we can now see I have a picture, I have those sources as a reference, and I do a save, and it looks much better. And if I go back to Wikidata, I have an additional thing here. So normally you click Wikidata there, but I go down there and check. We can see that most of the required things are set. We also have a def date. We don't have if he is in Libris or not. What I have is another additional thing, is that we have authority control. So now I send a request up to VF, and they check, do we have a person in VF called Johan Sunne, but they don't find him. Johan Sandler, and the cool thing here now is that he is in Wikidata and VF has him in Wikidata. And he is maybe also a politician. So now we can see how he confirms here. So arbetsort he doesn't have. He have def place. We don't have his wage. And we don't have him connected to any other things. We can check in this mix and match. And all those 3 items they found preliminary match are already matched in this article. We can check him in. We have Riksdagen called. Here I have did this in 12 of March 2022. The bad thing I did at that time was that I didn't add where he was part. Fine. So now I update that. Sandler in Hola 5253. So now I update that. And this is, I work in the wrong way here. But we say he's named as, and he is in band 5, sida 253. And I take it away. And we have that he's in this book, in this article. What I showed in another article is that we have now this ID here, and what I do is that I copy this down here, and we can see that I say that this ID here is this book. So that means we can do a Spark search for this book, and then I have here a entity explosion Chrome plugin, and if I click on that one, he go down and see if the page I'm standing on is a part of Wikidata, and in this case we have this person, and he can find Johan Sandler, and then he can also find that he has this unique ID in Svett Porträttgalleri. We have twice, and that he is in VIAF. If I click on the last one of those two, I go to the API for in SPA, and what I said in another article is that we already have in the text OCR here. So if you can do some named entity schema here, you can maybe start extracting parties and so on. So he's in libs, Johan Sandler. And then we should see, is this part okay here? I guess not. Here it is, lib samling. And I think that's libs, which I have added here. So here we have it in the correct way. What I do now is a thing which is stupid, but I spend much of my time doing the thing. We have this reference to Riksdagen here. It confirms the surname, it confirms Johan as the first name, and also the name that is what the person is called. So I add those things. So maybe if everything, I don't give up. We will have all the people related to the Swedish parliament and have the names they had as name. We can see that he was born here, and then we have already this confirmed here. So now I should write something which I haven't done to update this. So now I take the latest one, and the reason to have the latest one is that if someone is adding a template in Wikidata, we just get one in Wikipedia, we just get one reference. I continue with this after this video, and then we have that this person here, we know because we went to this place, is in VF. So it's Sandler, and now it's bold, so that means that it's the same birth def. And then I say add isni and gnd, that's the German. So now he go down updates. So now we will have, if we check here, him. Authority control, which is the plugin I used, added. This was a bad tracking. Yeah. So here we can check here what's the difference he has done between two versions. And we can see it was ISNI, it was Deutsche National, that's GND was added. Cool. And we can maybe see that we missed something more. Arbetsort, I'm not so, and what language he spoke. We have him now to with Deaf Place. We have him connected to Swedish Libris Deaf Date. Uppsala University is not part of. If I go back to our person here, Johan Sunne, I thought about doing one more thing. Is as we now has him in Ramsås as the birthplace, we could check in the church books. And as we have the church books connected, so if I go to Ramsåsa församling, we have also metadata for the församlingar. And this is the National Archives link to the church book. So if I go to the birth, which is C, and then you take a book for 1890, the duplicates, they have two. I take that one. Oh, that's not how I normally open it in a tab. And then we should check again. He was born 9 December 90. And I try to add references to the birth book. I would like to speak to Måns about this. And my idea is that if we start adding things like this as structured data, we could maybe better do machine learning, because this will be a feature design saying that he's in this specific book on this page, and we can see how far away people are from each other in the book. And one area where I think this should be done is DNA. When the police do DNA checks, they get DNA, which is excellent, structured, and so on. We can say that two people are maybe related because they have the same segments and so on. What I would like to see is that this should also be done for genealogy, people doing genealogy. I have been out speaking about that, and today it's manual process, which is so stupid, I think. So what we do now, I add a link to this book page, and then I add in the title field, I take this other thing. And this data is rather structured, but I still split it up. So rather it's not a field, but they have the same format. So then I add in a specific NAD term, I add the book, which is that part. So then we can see all people in the same book, and we have also a page ID. So that will be 93. And when he died, I think it's not available yet because it was too late. So now I copy this. That confirmed when he was born. When he died here, we have Kungsamlarförsamling. Oh, he has the child is Rickard Sandler. Now I'm on. Did I do the wrong thing now? I did the wrong thing. Oh. He was born not. No, maybe I did it wrong. Correct. I'm lost. Ramsåsa. This one is not Sumne. This is the hair. So then I do bad thing now. I take the ID here. I do copy the whole Sunne to this other person. I delete it from this one. And I save it. I go over to the other one and we will have Sunne and Ramsåsa. I take the reference here. Oh. I do it like that and then we delete Sunne. So now I have the birth book and I do a refresh of the page. And then I have this gadget for copying. And this also confirms 9 December. What I should do with this person who has died, he died in Mjölby. Another thing I have to connect now is all the grave cemeteries in Sweden, as we can see if this Sunne person is in Mjölby or not. This parish has a picture, and the picture is normally the church. And what they do, which is rather cool, is they say that this picture here depicts Q105. So I can jump to Mjölby kyrka, and that is also an object, and then can check on object, and I can see that this object has an OSM thing, but it doesn't have a Google reference. So then I have another plugin, which means that I go out here. I go to external maps and come to the location where the church is. And Google Map has, so if I'm lucky and zoom in, he will say it's a church here. I'm not lucky. So then I say kyrka, and hopefully he will find the churches in this area. And then he found the object from Mjölby kyrka. So they have objects. And the cool thing now is that I select this object. I go to another plugin I have. And this plugin, I don't know how. It's magic for me. Get the identifier from the Google Map. And I say, please add this identifier to Wikidata for this church. So now I connect the church object in Wikidata with the Google Map identifier. So if we go back to this item here and I go down, we can see that the church is now connected. I thought. Mjölby kyrka. Here it is. Google Map customer ID done by Salgo. What we also have is another plugin which is doing an overpass turbo search for all objects with Q10586848 in OpenStreetMap. So if I check this item here, we can say that the object they have called way, that's a way is a what called an object with this ID has also that is the same as Wikidata. So when I clicked on this one, I get to the search. So the search they do and display in this iframe is this item here. Looks like normally cemeteries are added. I don't add them. Normally it's better if a person is doing it by hand. So now we are in OpenStreetMap and you can maybe see the cemetery here. So we could have done something like an area saying that this is the cemetery. But I don't think I have the skills to say that it's... And then we could start add and say that this is a kyrkogård. And we can say that this is Wikidata same as. But I don't do it. So I delete this. But now we have connected the church with OpenStreetMap. What could be done is that we could also connect this to another object. As I have added all kyrkogårdar, I assume that the kyrkogården of this church is Mjölby kyrkogård. We'll see if I'm correct. And then we can do a consistency. And then it says, if I is connected to you, you should also be connected to me. So here we have Mjölby kyrkogård. And we will see how the coordinates for this is. Is it the same place? Yes, I think. So that one we did correct. What I will do is that I say also that this ID here for the church should have the same a picture of which normally the picture of a church is good enough for the cemetery, but we can also check if we have better pictures. So what I did now was copying it. Sometimes we also have air picture from the air, but we didn't have that in this case. Here we have. So that means that this is a picture from the air, which is super cool. So then I say this is a picture of Mjölby kyrkogård. So that's not connected. And then I say that we add this as a property. For Mjölby kyrkogård. And then we have something called flyg. And as this is a picture of the cemetery, it's also a picture of the church from there. So then I copy this back to this. And the reason we started this was because this person died in Mjölby, this Sunne. So what I do now is that I check. Here is a link to people going out and has scanned about, take a picture of 100,000 cemeteries. And we can see this is rather bad look, it's just two picture taken. But for example, in Norra Kyrkogården we have 6,000 people. And what I do is that he was called Sunne, I think, this person, wasn't he? And the good thing with people in the Swedish Parliament, they document rather more often than normal people. So now we say search for Sunne. And nothing will happen. I think it's a good name because it's unique. And I say search for everything in Östergötland. No, and then we take for the rest of Sweden. So maybe we can get something. And we called him Johan, I think. And he died in Johansson and died in 1967. Lesson learned is that this is a better source to have. It's also funny to see how the graves looks, I think, but we try to work with something called Svenska gravar, and I spoke to them 3-4 years ago. Spoke about having persistent identifiers, and they said yes, we have persistent, but we changed them. (1967), I think. And they have changed it. 2 months ago they changed everything. So now all our links are rotten. Johansson 67. So they don't have him. And if we do, Google is rather good. We can see if we can find his grave. We don't find him, I think. So what I have done now is I have updated this Mjölby kyrkogård. Another thing which I normally add to a churchyard cemetery is find a grave link. So I hope that people doing genealogy or doing tools for genealogy will use this. So now we have rather good connections between, we can see Mjölby, Kyrkogården Mjölby. I assume it's right. And you can see it's not just 3 graves documented. But it's better than nothing. And it's not Sunne. So now we go back to Mjölby. And we go down to the churchyard. And we can see that we have gravstens identifying. But we also have a property for find the grave. So now you have seen how we connect the churchyard. The churchyard is connected to the church. The church and hopefully also the churchyard are connected to OpenStreetMap. We have a gadget that do a search. So you can see, in this case, they haven't written out the churchyard, so I don't connect it. We also check that we have with the Google Maps identifier. So they have a unique identifier. We also have that the church is normally the picture of the församling. The församling has a picture of the church, but it has a property, say, depicting Q number 1. We have for all the parishes, church parishes, we have the identifier of the National Archive. For the National Archive, I at least, try to add links in a standard form, so we can get some, if you speak machine learning, it's some kind of feature engineering. So we can see that this person here is born in this church book. So if we get DNA or something else, we can see that we have also more people in the same book or in the same area. The book in itself is connected to the to the parish, so we have a coordinate for it, so we can see that other parishes next to it. And this is what I think is a possibility to track people in the same as we easily can do it with DNA, say that we are related somehow, but we can also say that your family tree and my family tree has church books references for that person, where we are just, the distance is just 5 pages. Or even better, if we are on the same grave, same cemetery. So we get all this feature engineering to find that how 2 different family trees can be connected. And then the DNA research will be much, much better. I spoke to the person at the police doing investigating this with DNA, but he didn't know what the knowledge graph was, so then I gave up. We can go back to Johan Sunne. So we now have a picture. We have 3 references, 1 to the church book, 1 to Tvåkammarriksdagen, 1 to the här. We have a name in Riksdagen, both in the article but also in Wikidata. And we have that he died, and we have a source for when he died, Tvåkammarriksdagen. And we have him to valkrets. And if we look into this book here, and we have a connection also that the SBA is for Tvåkammarriksdagen. And if we check this article, do we have an income on him? We don't. Maybe if I go back to the other person we played with. Sandler. If we check Tvåkammarriksdagen here. If I use this entity schema, we can see that he missing bruttolön. And here I need to speak to someone who is skilled, is that if we check his, I haven't copied it here, but we have the link to this thing here. So if I check this here, see if he has an income. The cool thing now with Wikidata is that we easily, they don't have any information either, if he owns something or no. But I can add the wage he has. We have a property for that, and we can say what currency it is and what date it is. So I have started now to also add this wage information here. I started with census 1930. So if we look into this, we can see that I have now extracted for Anders Hilding that he has a wage of 3,700 and net worth 36,000. I think it was Swedish krona then. And then we have the source for that, which is the census. If I go back and check now, what I added yesterday was that we start adding also if a person like Lemchen here, it says text income 1867 6058 riksdaler. So I click on this. Maybe I have done a link, but I haven't. Here we can see. So what I have done now is that I have added 6058 riksdaler at point 1865 with this reference. So what I did was add 6058. This is a field where you can add a unit and then assess tidpunkt 1867. And then I added a reference. I don't save this. So that's rather cool. So we have reference, we have estimated wealth, which with some thoughts I think could be also used from this data. Here it just says, normally says if they own the building or something like that. So that's rather cool. I didn't, when I started this, I didn't thought that we have the tax income in this source. So now we have also the sources. We have, if they did this in a church, we have this in riksdagen kallad. And one thing which I think is a little bit bad by me here is that we should also have that this name here is about Jönköping. I don't remember what property I spoke about. Beskriven av källa. I don't remember it. It's starting to get too many objects here. Maybe this could be used, 1800, to say that Lemchen in Jönköping is about Jönköping, same as cube, so and so. So then we could get that also on the map, which I think would be cool. Good, now I end this. But things like this is changing all the time, but having those tools makes it easy to edit Wikidata and also give new possibilities. That's my lesson, I would like to say. And Wikidata is open, which is cool because people like me can do whatever they want. The problem is we don't speak enough to make this an academic framework. You need to speak, to agree, and so on. And you need also maybe to be more precise. But this is a learning process. I think the cool thing now is that, for example, with Widding yesterday, Elsa, I think her name was. What's her name? Widding. That was a vilde yesterday. The bad thing I think here is that it's Elsa. Did I miss? Widding. Everyone spell it different. Here. She was a builder yesterday. And then what people do in Wikidata now, which I think is maybe a bad pattern, but I don't start a discussion, is that they say no value of party. I think it's better to have an object that is wilde. And if we check here, I think this was excellent done by this on Partilös, and I think I thank him now and say that this was cool. So if we check what he did, he changed this sorry, and had Partilös. And that is the way I think we should work, but most people doing later Swedish PMs add, they say no value. But the no value could also mean it's semantic bad, because no value means we have no value for him, which could mean that we don't know. But in this case, we know that this person is Partilös. And what they have done now, which I think is cool, maybe we can see if I go to discussion here. No. But Partilös is then frisinnad, for example. I think this person frisinnad vilde. I think this person has updated in a maybe good way. No, it's me, so then you can trust it. And this is bad to have it as a political party. So here I think we see a weakness of Wikidata. When it's getting more complex, we need to have authorities telling us this is the way to do. A lot of people who are doing things in Wikidata are bold, which means they just change. And that's what's happened with this frisinnad. And I don't think it's wrong what it does, but I think it's better to have an object than saying empty. And this is also a process where you learn things. A lot of people doing changing on Wikidata or Wikipedia have done this for ages, and they are not so keen on doing it in new ways. And then every person has different backgrounds and so on. So you have to understand it will never be perfect. Let's see if I can search on Wilde. Oh, I forget another Wilde. But he did a new construction, this one of those persons, which I think was excellent. That you say that Wilde. And the story I heard was it was just used one. So instead of a party, it's a parliament group. No, he hasn't changed it. It's just me adding things. Maybe in a good way or not. And I think this is just a link to Assar Åkerman. Yeah. I stop now. A long video, but there are a lot of tools. There are a lot of things that could be done in more ways. Wikidata is nothing to trust because everyone can change it. So what we have now is that we have an infrastructure where välfärden analyserad is looking into Wikidata, and we should try to make välfärden analyserad so good so we can change the direction and say that Wikidata trust välfärden analyserad because we have a good quality. I also think that you need to have this persistent identifier. You always need to have an identifier, otherwise we can't credit you, we can't reference you, saying that this is the same item as the Q number of your välfärdsanalyserers. So it's a bad pattern that we haven't added it yet. It's also easier for you to say, as I showed for Nobel Prize. Here, we did a redesign of the data they have because it was so bad structure. They moved around pages and so on, and they did it on API. So now Marie Curie is number 6. So that means that number 6 here is her page. And are we lucky, we can use this entity explosion. Yes. And then we can go down to Nobel Prize, maybe. And then if I have done this is a little bit cheating for me. Nobel laureate here. We go to the JSON. So they have started. The person doing this, he likes linked data. So here they have done that they add a city, but you also do add it as Q270. They add a country, but they do same as. So this is a good pattern, I think. And if we go to August Strindberg, we can see that this is Litteraturbanken. Those links are from Wikidata, so they don't update themselves so much, is my understanding. If I click here, we are lucky, we will see that Strindberg A is in Wikidata, and we can find him in here, and then we can go down and check the API. And then we can see that they also start using same as Wikidata Q77, but just for the person. We had a good discussion with them that they didn't like the way Wikidata track people, and I agree. The deaf place. Normally we say he deaf in a parish, because that's where we had a record. So when we see deaf place here, it says Fredriks församling, which could be better because we know he died at Blå Tornet. See if I had added that and they have deleted it. There we have. No, I haven't added it. Good. Now I stop for this time, but there is a lot of things to discuss. What you have is that you have Telegram groups like Wikidata, and here you can ask question. It's since yesterday is 30 people who have added things. This is enthusiasts. Some people are extremely skilled. You have, for example, or some people are doing a lot of edits. I think Jan, who you know about, he's adding a lot of things here. And this is a little bit more technical thing. This person here, I think he is excellent, working with languages. And you also have, here's Jan, and you also have the product, Lydia. She is the product owner of Wikidata, and you have also some excellent people for coding. Lucas is one, which is I claim he's extremely skilled. Is my feeling. So here the discussion goes on and on. But it's still an open place. Here you can ask about Sparkle and so on. And then you have also Sparkle query. This is normally the fastest. But you have, if you go to query, I think maybe we have a link here. Request a query. So here people ask more subquery header, article workshop, blah 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 blah, and then you have also extremely skilled people. So this is just posting and saying I would like to query off all people which have a sister or brother. We will discuss idiot Wikipedia. Thanks in advance. And then someone does this, and you can test it. One thing which could be better, I think, is that we have a knowledge graph somehow, but we don't use it so much for adding better data. We don't have any machine learning functionality in Wikidata. It's based on an old tool called Blaze Graph, and this tool has stopped. It's open and free, but the bad thing is that the people working with it, they are being hired some years ago with Amazon. So they are doing Nautilus, I think is the name of it. And we have a problem in some years that we will have over 150 billion things or something in Wikidata, and then we will get the problem. So what has been done is, which I have spoken about, is that we have created something called Wikibase, and this is Wikibase Cloud. So we can set up a cloud instance and add your own properties. And the cool thing about that, it's much easier adding things. In Wikidata you have to discuss for weeks. Here I just did my own instance. I added a new notebook property and so on and so on, and it's excellent. Goes much faster. So for example, what I did here is one thing which makes me sad is how we municipals are building web pages that are not data driven. So what we have here is that every place in every municipal are allowed to set up their own anslagstavla, a place where they inform other people. That was a law 3 years ago. So instead of building an infrastructure so you can search in more municipals, they did it in 290 different ways. So as a citizen, if you would like to know everything happening about a specific subject, you need to go to 290 places. So what I did here is that I added a link to this anslagstavlan, and as they have done it in 290 ways also, it's really difficult to add a link. And then you have to go there and search. So this is a big step just to get the map. But what I did was that I used Wikibase, and that's this instance here. So now I'm on SWE open. I say, give me everything that has Q240. And so we have Q number also for this instance. And when you have find this queue number, we have a video. Then we have P1, which means that this item in this local Wikibase is related to the Wikidata queue number in property P1. Then I create a new URL and goes over to federated search in Wikidata. So say with this new URL, Wikidata IRI, please search in Wikidata. So if we check down now that the Wikidata IRI, and then I say fetch the flag, the logo, and so on. So the Wikidata IRI looks like this, which is excellent. You construct it like that. And then I can go over to Wikidata and find if they have an image, so on. So on this map, I will display this picture, solar weapon, that is in Wikicommons, but is used on the Swedish Wikipedia or in Wikidata. It's also used on the French Wikipedia and so on. Cool thing with is that we also track how much usage is and so on. But that's setting up a Wikibase, which I think is the future. The problem is if you speak with museum, most people can't set up a Wikibase. They don't have the skills. So we are lost in some odd space that people use Wikidata too much. But that's another question. I stop now.